Welcome back to my channel Conquer the Fear. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the most popular Java interview questions. What is the difference between array and the array list? Now there are different ways I could have shown you the exact differences in a slide, but I wanted you to show the exact coding differences, what is the practical differences between them. So I will walk you through each and every differences. So I'm going to disclose around 8 to 9 differences, right from how they are declared to how we can use them. So watch this video till the end so that you get the deep understanding of what is the difference between them, and whenever an interview asks you, you can answer that with confidence with deep details. So out of 10 interviews, you will see around 7 to 8 of this particular Java interview. You will definitely find this particular interview questions, or definitely he will ask you indirectly with some coding snippet what is the difference or how you can create this thing. So you need to be aware of all these details in depth because these are the basics. So here I have written one class over here, and one by one I am going to explain you how you can do that. So coming to the first, that is how we can declare that. So we'll look at the declaration part and initialization part. Okay. So if you take a look at this, let's say if I'm creating an int array. So here these are the integer array. So I am going to create a number array, and if you see, I am going to give you the exact number. Let's say I wanted to create an array of 5 elements. So here I am going to create it. So this is how you create an array. Okay, you have to this is the declaration process of an array. And then what you can do, ultimately, let's say you want to create for string. Okay, now what I will do, I will create a string array, let's say, and this, there is one more way which you can create it. Let's say I wanted to have this similar way. Let's say this, if you see, right? So this is how you can actually create it. I have misplaced it over here. So now if you see, this is one way to create that particular array. So this is an integer one, and this is one of the string array. Okay, so this is how you can initialize it. But coming to how we can declare the array list, right, the instantiation and the declaration part, what you have to do is that you have to declare the array list. Okay, then you have to define, let's say if I'm taking integer. So this is how you create that number array list. Okay, so this is how you can create that array list. Okay, so now if you make a note of here, I'm giving this one as an type over here, but you see on the right side I'm not giving it. Now this is one of the upgrade or the improvement in the Java, where you doesn't have to give it. Even if you give it, there will not be a problem, but you will see it will cry over here that you can remove this from the assignment. So it will infer from this particular variable whatever the type it is. Now what in order to create an array list with some values, what you can do, I will create an array list. Okay, so let's say if I am taking the string array list over here. Okay, and let me name it as, okay, and under this, what I will do now, under this I will make use of the arrays dot as list over here. So under this, I can actually add this like this way. So you see this in string, in the array, you have to create it with this way. Now let's say if I'm creating in this particular array list, right? So this is how you can do that. I hope you are clear with this particular differences. Okay. So this is how you can create it. Now let's say if I wanted to print, okay, the size of those. Okay. So let's say if I wanted to print the size, okay. Uh, okay, size. Now for size of an array, what you have to do? This one, right? So here, if you take a look at this, I can directly write this. Okay. Now similarly for the array list, if I wanted to write this, the size of an array list, I can actually make use of this size method over here. Okay. So this is how you can make use of it. Okay. So this is how if you want to take a look at this size, we can do this. I hope I am able to explain you properly. Now let us look at adding the elements over here. So I'm trying to add the elements over here. Now if you take a look at this from this particular number array, okay, here I wanted to add at the 0th element. Okay, so what I will do, I will make use of this 0 element over here. And let's say if I wanted to define this as an integer, so I'm going to define, let's say 10 over here. Let's say if I wanted to add another element over here, let's say. Before this, let me run this particular program and show you what is the output over here. If you see here, this is the 5 and this is 3 elements inside this. If you take a look at this, right? So I've taken this integer and then at this side I've made use of this. So it is printing. Okay. Now let's move on to adding the elements inside it. So let's say if I'm adding this one, right, over here. So here if you see, I am going to add this. Now let's say I am going to make use of the array list over here. So let's say if I am having the string array over here. Okay. So let's say if I am adding that particular element over here. Okay. So I have made use of the number list over here. So what I will do, here there is a method called add. Okay. So here I am trying to add the integer, right? So let's say I am adding this one. Okay. So here if you see, I have added this. Second, I have added the 20 over here. Okay. So now let's say if I am trying to print something. Okay. So let's make use of this one. So I am going to make use of the adding element in the array. Okay. So here what I will do, here I am going to make use of the arrays to string. Okay. And I will pass on the number array over here. Okay. So this is how you will actually get that particular count, or the not count but the details. Similarly, I wanted to add for the array list. Okay. So here what I will do, I will have to showcase the number array list directly over here. Okay, so if I am directly printing it over here with this, okay, let me run this and show you. Now if you take a look at this, in the array it is printing those elements, and in this particular thing it is printing that particular as an elements over here. Okay, so this is how you add those elements inside it. Okay, now let us look how we can access those elements. If you take a look at this, I'm going to write accessing those elements. Okay, now if I wanted to access those elements, okay, let's say I wanted to show some information. Okay, how I can, so here from this particular number array, okay, I am going to write, let's say I wanted information of 0th element, and okay, so instead of show element I am trying to access those element, and inside this array list what we can do, it is, there is a get method where you have to provide the index over there. Let's say I am trying to get the first element over here. Okay, so this is how you can get those. So there are different methods available for it, to add those, to check if it is contains, get the first, last. There are different, right? So here if you run this and see what will happen, we'll see the output. Okay, now if you take a look at this, I'm showing the elements over here 20 and 20, right? So this is how you add those elements over here. Okay, because here if you see I have added this element as over here as 1, let's say. Okay, let me try to rerun this. Now you see it is 10 and 20 over here. Okay, so this is how you access those elements. Okay, I wanted to modify some information, let's say. Okay, let's say I want to modify the elements. Okay, now what is the way to modify those? This is simple. I will take this particular number array. Let's say I wanted to modify the first element over here. Let's say I wanted to make it at 50 over here. Okay, so that is the modification. Similarly, how we can do that for the array list is, you have to take that particular array list. There is a set method over here. Okay, the set will ask for what is the index you wanted to change. So let's say if I am taking the first element and I am trying to, let's say, set 100 over here. Okay, so this is how you can do that. Now let me print those elements over here again. Post modification. Okay, so post modification, I am trying to get those element again, the same number I am trying to get that. So I have modified that. So let's see if it is printing 50 and 100 or not. You see here, post modification, I am able to see this particular, whatever has been modified, I am able to access it. Now let us try to look at the size. So size, we already looked at it, like how we can actually check that thing. Okay, so we already checked it. There is already a confusion, right? So how to check the size of an array? So sometimes they try to let's say they are given some coding problem. Okay, and some get confused of on the array they try to call this size element. So in the editor where they are giving the program, write that, right? So there is no import, there is no other thing. So you have to write everything from the scratch, where you have to import those, you have to know the methods, you have to compile it, you have to run that particular program, you have to get that particular output, whatever the test case is expecting. So there you get confused. So this is how you have to remember, like for the array there is a length, okay, and element that is the array will be storing up, and then there is a size. Okay, So that will get the information about it. Now let's look at how we can add some more elements now that using the let's say the initial capacity. Okay. So here what we'll do at the end. So what I will do in the array list, what I will do. So here I'm only talking about the array list, which will try to have the initial capacity, because array is not going to have that. Array is going to be a strict fixed one, right? So now I'm talking about the array list, which can grow and shrink, right? So here I'm trying to add the elements to the array list with some initial capacity. Okay. So what will happen is, like, array list will grow dynamically. Okay. So here what will happen, I will try to add. Okay, let's say if I am writing some I is equal to, let's say, fourth element. Okay, I'm trying to add so if you take a look at this, let me post it till 10. Okay, and I will add those details over here. Okay, so let's say the number array list I'm taking, then I'm trying to add the elements over here. Now here what I will do, I will make use of the iteration. Then let's say I'm trying to, let's say, multiply with some 100 over here. Okay, so this will store like that. Now let me try to print this value over here. So now I will print this size over here instead of get element to get the size. So post modification array list size. Okay, now let me try to run this and see the output. Now you will see there are total 9 elements inside this. Let me try to print directly the array list over here, so that you can see the array list over here. Now you see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, but these are the 10 elements which has been added. So why I have started from 4 over here is that I have already added some elements over here. So 1 2 and 3, and then I'm starting it from 4. Okay, let's say if I had made it 20. Okay, then it is going to show you 20 elements over here. Okay, so this is how it will look like. Okay, so I will just restrict it to 10 only, so save purpose. So as we have looked at how it can dynamically grow, but that will not be the case with array. You have to change that particular thing, then you have to swap those elements, and then now looking at the type safety and the generic elements over here. So there is a concept of type safety. We'll look into the type safety aspect and the generic aspects over here. Okay, now what will happen over here is that, let's say I'm making use of the object. Okay, here, and I'm going to create an let's say object array. Let's say I'm giving some like this. Okay, so instead of object, what I will do, I will make use of this string over here. Now you see there is no error happening. Let's say I keep it as 5 over here, and if you take a look at this, let's say if I'm trying to add some element as object, sorry, okay, let me try to add some RAM over here. Okay, so here I'm trying to add some string. Okay, so this is string, I'm trying to add this over here. Okay, so this is how it will add that, but there is one catch over here. Let's say, okay, let's say if I'm going to add okay, let's say if I'm going to add 1 over here, okay, and instead of string element I'm trying to add, let's say 100 over here, okay. So let's see what will happen, okay. So first I will comment, let me add this, okay. Now here what I will do, I will try to print this element over here, okay, just to showcase that. So array list will have the generics which will prevent that at the compile time itself, okay. So let's say you wanted to print that element over here, this will definitely print it over here, okay. Let's say if I am printing at the 0th element, okay, so 0th element I am trying to print, let's 0 element of array, okay. So here if I am trying to run this and see, okay, I will get an exception basically, but yeah, let me recommend this and I'll try to run this. So now you see it is printing RAM over here, but if you see, if I'm trying to add some number over here, okay, as this is an integer, okay, no, sorry, object, okay, so it will not allow you to add because I'm trying to infer this particular thing. So this will throw an array store exception over here. So let me run this and show you. So if you see array store exception, it is expecting that particular thing as a string, but it is having an integer over here. So that is one thing which it will block you from this is how this generics will have that, okay. So now with as already mentioned that array list with generics is going to prevent that at the compile time itself, okay. So let's look at an example, okay. Let's say I am creating an array list, let's say I am creating an object over here, okay, and under this object what I will do, I will, instead of this thing, actually I will try to add string over here. You see here above, if you see, I had directly inferred, okay, I have not written anything, okay. On the right side whatever it is taken, but if you see here I am trying to take on the left side the object, but on the right side if you see I'm trying to create a string over here. Now just highlight and see what it will say. It will say that it is required an object and it will change. So this is the compile time error which is going to give you, okay. So make sure if you get some guess the output, or let's say some questions, options examples to show like how we can do that. So this will the case. Now when you look at the performance, okay, so array list, or let's say the array is generally faster because you can do the get and set operation on that particular specific number, okay. So that is how you can do that. So let's say if I am trying to performance wise, let's check out the array, okay, performance, okay. So what I will do, let's me create one variable which will capture the start time. Now inside this, let's say I am trying to create, let's say one x element over here, and let's say I'm going to make use of the number array. Let's say I'm trying to access the first element over here, then I will end that particular with a nano time. Now what I will do, I will try to print how much time it has taken to for the time, right, performance, okay. Now here of an array, so here what I will do, I will inside this bracket itself, what I will do, I will add the end time first. I will minus with the end time, okay. So let me try to print that particular thing, how much time it is taking to add this. So it is 300 nanoseconds, okay. Now let me do it for the array list. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to capture the again the time over here. Okay, now instead of integer, let's say xy. Okay, now I'm trying to get the element of first element over here. Okay, now let me end that. I will try to print the same thing over here. Now if you take a look at this, how much time it is taking for the array list over here. Okay, now let me try to run this and see how much time it will take. Now you see the time difference, it is huge difference. Okay, so that is the reason it is better when you're trying to get some element, you're trying to set some element, you can make use of the array over there when the numbers are less, when you want, when your requirement is not dynamically growing something and you have some fixed set of things, so you want to operate. So it is way difference to, if you see, it is 10 times or 11 times, you would say, more than that. Okay, that is the huge difference when it comes to having applications, when you are dealing with large set of applications where there is a huge number of data. Okay, now let's look at the conversion from one thing to another thing. Let's say I want to convert between these two, right? So what I will do, I will just create, so let's first look at the how we can convert from array to array list over here. Okay, so what we'll do, so here if I am going to say, let's say let me create a string. Okay, here I am going to create, let's say, a string array. Okay, so here I am going to create some string list. Okay, so basically string list. Okay, what is the name of that? It is string list array. Okay, so here what I'm trying to do is that from this particular list I'm trying to create an array. Okay, so here it will be new of string. Okay, let's say I'm going to create new. Okay, like this. Okay, I will remove this over here. Okay, so if you see, I'm trying to create the 0th element inside this. Now let me try to print that particular information over here. Okay, so here I am trying to print converted information. Okay, so here what I will do, I will try to take the arrays, then do string, then what I will do, I will take this particular uh, string array over here and I will print this. Okay, so here let me try to see what will happen when you are trying to convert between these two. So here you see, from this particular array I am trying to create, okay, an array list over here. Okay, so this is how I'm trying to create. Okay, so I've converted it to from this array to the array list to array over here. Okay, so this is how I've done that. So here if you see, I've taken that particular, so this is array list to array. This is something which I have done as a reverse over here, array to array list. Okay, so this is how you can do that from the array list. Actually, how you can convert that to that particular thing. Okay, so this is how we can do that. Now let's say I wanted to convert it from the array to array list, right? So here what I will do is I will create a list of, let's say, string elements over here. Okay, Now I need some converted list over here. Okay, converted list. Okay, now what I will do, I will create a new array list over here. Okay, now inside this I'm going to take the array list as this. Okay, so arrays dot list over here. Okay, let me import this first. Now you see I'm going to take this particular thing element over here. Now I will actually see that particular output over here. See here, I'm trying to convert that from the array. Okay, converted from the array to the list. Okay, so here I will be printing this particular converted list only. Okay, so let me run this and show you. So here I have converted it to an array. Okay, and then here I have converted it to an list over here. Okay, so this is how you can actually convert those particular thing to the list, from vice versa, from array to list, and array to array list. Okay, so these are the differences. Now at the end I would like to tell you all that as a sum up, right? When you want to use the array, okay, so let's say you want to use array, okay, when you want that your application is, you have a fixed things, okay, fixed number of elements. So array list can be used up when you have the fixed number of elements. Okay, so you know which number of elements are there you in the advance itself. Okay, so only in that case you use that. Okay, let's say you want an better performance. So we already looked at it, that in the long run or whether in the short run, this array list is giving a huge difference when it comes to performance. Like, you want to do some operation inside it, it will be way better. Okay, so you will be working, let's say you are working on some APIs, okay, so that require some arrays. Okay, so you can make use of those in that particular array over here. Okay, so in those cases you can use it. Now let's look at when to use array list. Okay, so we can use array list when we want something to be dynamic in size. Okay, so when you want some dynamically to grow and shrink. Okay, so in that case you can use. And let's say you wanted to frequently add or modify some elements. Okay, so you can actually frequently add or remove some elements. Okay, okay, that is one. So basically here actually one more thing actually I would like to add is that whenever you are dealing with the primitive types basically over here. Okay, so that time it will give you much more performance. But yeah, okay, the last thing I would like to say is that you can use this whenever you are working with the collection API framework. Okay, so in that case you can use the array list over here. Okay, so I hope I was able to explain you in depth, very minute level details of what is array, what is exactly the different operations you can do, what is array list, and what are the different set of operations you can do. Okay, so I've listed out all those things from scratch, like how you can create it, how you can access those, how you can modify those, how you can convert back and forth from array to array list and array list to list array. Okay, so this all information is quite important. Do some practice and actually you will be very very useful when you're trying to attend any interviews or in your project itself. Whenever you are working, this will serve you. Okay, so make sure you practice it. If this video has given you some value, please thumbs up on this particular video, and don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Please check out my other videos from my channel where I've uploaded videos on Java, Spring Boot, microservices. There are tons of Java interviews which are attended by the peoples in the real world, and then these questions are asked in the MNCs. Thank you for watching.